Imagine a movement system built to keep your aim steady, while giving you the dodge tools to outplay every shot coming your way. By the end of this training, you'll be asking yourself, why did I ever buy a Zen in the first place? The average Fortnite player moves at 29 miles per hour, about 100 meters in 7 seconds. That's a ton of ground in no time. For that reason, right stick isn't just married to aim anymore. Now it's got a side chick. Psst. Movement. When we think about how a controller is designed, it only makes sense. R3 doubles down as both tracking and directional input, demanding more from our dual analog setup, and building a unique skill gap for controller players. Push R3 in, and it becomes your slide and cancel mechanic, stacking yet another layer of control onto the same stick. The left joystick handles both running and sprinting, lining up perfectly with your left trigger. The right stick mirrors the right trigger. That symmetry creates a natural rhythm, making controller a match made in heaven for strafe aiming. Instead of stopping to track an enemy, sprint into a lateral slide toward them, dodging their fire while keeping your crosshair locked on center mass. This is the foundation of Webby Movement. At AR range, strafe aiming teaches the rhythm of movement and tracking, understand player behavior, and react instinctively. As you start moving closer in, think about 5 to 10 meters. This is your danger zone. Here, movement stops being simple. Let's go over a clip and highlight some visual details from it. In this scenario, I'm not just reading my opponent. I'm using terrain to complicate his shot selection. Player A is locked on the steep side of a slope, while I'm sliding across the low ground. By syncing my downhill slide with his bunny hop, his crosshair hyperextends. What should have been easy beams turns into a nightmare adjustment. But before I have a chance to reset, his duo comes flying in. He's sprint jumping downhill right at me, while I'm sliding downhill. That forces my crosshair into what I call a macro extension, the uphill tracking radius where every degree of aim feels like a mile. So I've got two choices: hotkey the aimbot, or flip his momentum against him. I cut back with a counter slide, which makes him whiff every shot, and expose his position for the cleanup. The biggest takeaway: terrain dictates timing. That downhill slide didn't just reposition me, it turned both player A and B's angles into a liability. And because most of the player base subconsciously leans on jumping, panic jumps only made it worse for both of them. This is why I'm always saying, sliding is king over jumping. In these close quarter fights, anytime I pivot directions, I slide to slingshot from point A to B, then cancel. The cancel puts me in a read option stance. From there I'm asking, do I have a clean angle to track and shoot? If I don't have a clean shot, I track the direction that counters my opponent's line of fire. Let's go over another highlight to help my visual learners. By the time I correct my crosshair, we're likely trading shots. So instead, I sprint around his back shoulder, then the second I switch directions, I slide to cut through his angle. That secures position, putting me in a way more manageable spot to actually hit my shots. Every decision is led by your crosshair. If you start tilting R3 outside of center placement, treat it as a micro cue for direction. Mirror the tilt with your movement to create instant micro adjustment momentum, letting crosshair and movement work as one. What about situations where you overcommit on a move? That's when we take a page out of the Bob Ross handbook and turn that mistake into a happy accident. Let's take this clip for example. A third party tries to catch me slipping, but I'm so locked into visual audio that I rip a slide off my blind side and redirect momentum behind the offender. So, what's my next move? A. Track back off the slide and shoot. B. Let Lil Timmy's no bitch havin', FNPCS looking awe, take me out with 3 hot ones to the face? Or C. Cancel my slide, wrap around his back shoulder, and take position. If you answered C, you just saved us a trip to the lobby. Movement should feel free-flowing. If you think of center placement too literally, you'll box yourself in and cut off options. Sometimes, the smartest play isn't to force your crosshair back on target. Let it drift first, and use that drift to bait your opponent into overcommitting. That's where intentional misdirection comes in. If you hit a lateral move past either shoulder and drift just outside their field of view, you sell the illusion that you're attacking their back or retreating. Once you've got the angle, wrap back and away from their shoulder, sliding at the top of your pivot until the fight resets. Ta-da! Crosshair center mass. But more importantly, you're dictating the fight. Webby Movement isn't what your Warzone buddies are used to. It's a unique system designed to take the load off your aim speed by adding weight and rhythm to your movement. Take this style head on, and you'll not only find success, it'll change the way you see and play the game. But that's it for now, Weblings.